I miss being a kid. When you're a kid and you're seen playing with stuffed animals, it's adorable. When you're an adult and you're seen doing the same thing, it's weird. I'm not saying I still do that or anything. Christopher Robin. So Christopher Robin is a new live-action Disney movie starring Ewan McGregor as the title character. We all know that when Christopher Robin was a kid, he would escape to the 100-acre wood to play with his animal friends, Winnie-the-Pooh, Tigger, Eeyore, Piglet, etc. But now he's all grown up and he has a family and a job, but his work is taking up too much of his life, and his wife and daughter aren't too happy about that. But one day, he bumps into his old friend Winnie-the-Pooh, who has come out of the 100-acre wood to find him, and so Christopher Robin goes on a journey to rediscover his youth. And when the trailers for this movie were coming out, I thought it looked pretty good. I mean, yeah, the stuffed animal versions of the characters we all grew up with did look kind of creepy at first, but then I heard their voices, and I was like, those are the voices that I grew up with as a kid. Jim Cummings as Pooh and Tigger.
Perhaps it's our turn to save Christopher. Let's bounce!
I'm a kid again without a care in the world. I mean, we all grew up with these characters. They've been around for decades, but my mom has told me that I specifically loved Winnie-the-Pooh as a kid, and now I can see why. So when I heard that some people didn't think this movie looked that good, or some people thought the movie was not that great, I was like, I don't see what's wrong with it. Now, this movie being about Winnie-the-Pooh characters, the movie is actually not as simple as you might think. It does actually deal with some heavy topics. It doesn't go extreme, but it's just not as rated G. The movie's not rated G, it's rated PG. So some of the topics that this movie covers might go over young kids' heads. I'm just letting you know that before you see this movie. But all of the animal characters are how you remember them. Winnie-the-Pooh is still a silly old bear who's obsessed with honey and exploring and being with his friends. Piglet is still shy and timid. He's got a British accent in this movie, which is fine. Tigger was always my favorite as a kid because he was the funny one. You know, he was energetic, he was bouncing all over the place, having a good time, screwing some things up, and he is still that in this movie, and he did provide some laughs, but I gotta say he did not provide as many laughs as Eeyore, voiced by Brad Garrett. Eeyore, you know, we all know him as being the depressed one.
He's always sad about everything.
But like in this movie, every time he said something depressing, everyone just found it funny. The whole audience was laughing. Maybe because at this point, as an adult, we find him the most relatable, which is sad in itself, but true. But you want to just give Eeyore a hug and be like, it's gonna be okay, donkey boy. You don't have to sit by yourself under a rainy cloud all day. In a twisted turn of events, I found Eeyore being my favorite. Weird, right? Now, Ewan McGregor as Christopher Robin, I thought he really sold the performance. He is a confused person because this is something that every person in the world has to learn. As you grow up, you become an adult and you have certain responsibilities. You can't just go exploring and be with your friends all the time. You have responsibilities. That's just called being an adult. And that does matter, but you can't ever forget to surround yourself with things that make you happy. That's what should really be important. And this is a topic that really doesn't have any resolution. It depends on your view on life. I consider myself an optimistic realist, meaning that, yeah, I understand we have responsibilities and we do have to do things that don't always make us happy all the time, but I tried to look for the good in every situation. Find the light in the darkness, see at least a little bit of enjoyment in an otherwise completely dull task. Because if you are completely unhappy in whatever you're doing, then why even bother? That's how I feel anyways, that's my philosophy, and I feel like that's the point that this movie tried to convey, and I felt it did it really well. The score in this movie was done by Jeff Zanelli, who did the music for Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales last year, and by John Bryan, who actually did the music for Paranorman. And what I liked about the score in this movie is that not only did it have its original theme, which I thought was good, but it did bring back those original classic songs that we all grew up with. You know, the Winnie-the-Pooh theme, Winnie-the-Pooh, Winnie-the-Pooh, willy-nilly silly old bear. And there are some other songs that it brought back. I'm not going to spoil them for you. But upon hearing those songs in the score, I found myself humming along with them. Because I grew up with those songs as a kid. I couldn't help it. Look, I just graduated from college. I'm about to enter that chapter in my life where I'm really gonna have to start looking after myself. A movie reminding me to hold on to my youth could not have picked a better time to come out. I still don't get why people think this movie might not be good, because it is a fun, simple movie with those lovable characters you remember from when you were a kid, and I will go so far as to say, go see this movie right now. I can't help it, man. I fell in love with this movie. I grew up with the Tigger movie, okay? That was my Winnie-the-Pooh experience as a kid that I remember. I just watched it again recently, and I'm not gonna lie, I teared up at the end. Don't judge me, okay? Venom looks cool too. So Christopher Robin, have you seen it? What did you think about it? And what was your Winnie-the-Pooh experience like as a kid? If you want to answer that question. Whatever you want to say, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.